That dangerous drug that we've been telling you about, xylazine, it's showing up in the metro area. It's an animal tranquilizer that's often mixed with other drugs like fentanyl without the user's knowledge.
Laura Sample is on your side to show you what local health experts are doing about it.
Xylazine is the new drug on the streets.
Carrie Pomikata is with Coalition RX, a community group in Omaha that works to reduce substance misuse. She doesn't hold back when talking about xylazine, known on the streets as Tranq.
We know from OPD and the DEA that we are seeing xylazine on the streets of Omaha.
Xylazine is approved in the U.S. as a pain reliever and sedative, only for large animals like horses. But health experts say it's often mixed with opioids and stimulants on the streets, and most users don't even know it.
This stuff will kill you.
Dr. Edward DeSimone with Creighton University says Tranq enhances the high from fentanyl and also acts as a stimulant and is extremely dangerous.
It's very easy to overdose on these drugs, just as fentanyl is exceptionally easy to overdose. Xylazine is the same way.
Xylazine usually starts working within minutes. It can cause people to stop breathing and cause flesh-eating wounds.
The problem is, in terms of treatment, the Narcan, which is used to treat an overdose of fentanyl, is not effective against the xylazine because it's totally unrelated.
Still, doctors say Narcan should be used for an overdose to reverse the effect of the opioid xylazine is mixed with.
Parents, what you can do to combat these drugs that are on the street right now is talk to your kids.
On your side in Omaha, Laura Sample, 6 News.
Local health experts are working on legislation that's under review right now called the Overdose Fatality Review Teams Act. Their long-term goal is to recommend policy changes and allocate resources to prevent future overdoses.